back, everybody. Just a reminder to kind of go on mute in the plenary session, so we don't have background noise. Hope you all had a good opportunity to work through the issues in your sessions, and plenty of opportunity to kind of share views and things that you think we need to be thinking about. The facilitators in your rooms, I think, will have made a point, a summary of the main points that you all raised. I think I've probably got 3 rooms here where the facilitators have actually put some feedback into the kind of shared template that we have. So, oh no, there's more feedback coming in. So I think Natasha and I are going to kind of pick out points from that feedback, and I suppose find the issues that there's some consensus about, find the issues that I think people might prove more challenging. So I think we've got some sort of good points and common points around. I think some of the things that people were bringing up when we had the kind of brief chance in the plenary earlier. So I think that question around the timeline between registration and assessment, and how we accommodate the changes that might have been between those 2 points in time, I think that's a kind of really helpful point. And then also, I think in a couple of rooms, the question around what will happen if a provider buys an existing service, what does that mean for how they register, and generally that point of how are we registering a brand new service, and what evidence exists for that. I suppose on that latter point, I suppose what we have to bear in mind is that to some extent the kind of evidence that we have at that point of registration, it's not a lot different from the situation that we're in now. I think what the kind of main difference there will be that we can bring in more evidence kind of as we move to that assessment stage. But I think a suggestion as part of that we provide a checklist to make it easier to supply information. I think just looking, yes, and again, points around generally around the helpfulness of kind of having a faster process, being much clearer around our expectations of timescales, and also that point about ensuring there isn't a long gap between being registered and first appointment. All very helpful stuff. Natasha, is there anything that you wanted to pick out particularly from the feedback document?
Just a good reminder to make sure that we're not losing what's good about registration, and how it's working well at the minute, and we don't want to lose any aspects of that. And then just the point around making sure that we've got a level playing field for new and existing providers in terms of our expectations and the way in which we apply a provisional rating of good, which we know that we have to do. I think these are the main things. It's very exciting. It's kind of like live coming in the document. You can see people. There's a new comment from room 3, but there are kind of the main things in addition to what you'd said.
I think there's also an important point in there about the need for more support and guidance from registration onwards about what needs to be improved and how to reach the required standards. And I think that's absolutely something that we're looking at all stages of the registration and assessment process. And I think that question also of more guidance at the point before people have even started the registration process. And I think, you know, one of the benefits of the kind of changes that we're thinking about, I think, as we've been saying, is about making it kind of much clearer what we're expecting at various stages of the process, being more transparent about what we're looking for. And, you know, I think all of these changes that we're suggesting around registration and its relationship with the assessment process are very much about making that happen. It's also a really good point in I think from room 6 about it's a lot of change at once and how we manage to assess what is or isn't working. And I think there's definitely something about how CQC are going to use the next few months into the later part of the year to kind of really start to build and test what we're doing, to understand whether it's working, and also as part of that to kind of start to share and talk through with providers more of what our thinking is. So I think this sort of session's really helpful, getting some early feedback, but definitely as part of that change process, working it through with providers as part of piloting will be a really important part of that. So I can see, I think most rooms we've started to kind of get the summary in. I just wondered, room 4, who I think that's the one where we've so Charles, I think it is. Had you got any headlines from your group that it would be helpful to feedback that are anything different from what we've already reflected?
Largely along the same themes. There is also there was the question of timelines. Sort of when do we start having when do we move from conversations to when does it start becoming real? And sort of if we could provide some sort of timelines of when we will do that. Yeah. There was also the bit around clarity on the evidence requirements, the sort of evidence that we needed to be quite clear on what we require from providers at registration. And also there were a few points around a bit of more alignment and more communication between the registration and inspection teams, basically. But yes, largely along the same themes of what you've just talked about now. Abigail did make more detailed notes of this, so yeah, we'll be looking at that going forward.
That's great. Thank you.
No worries.
So yeah, I think a lot of consistency there, and so plenty of things for us to think about. But also, I think some kind of positive comments about the current process, but also that this is a great ambition, which I think is a kind of useful bit of confirmation that we're on the right track with this. So I think with that, I think we're now coming to the point where we will close the session. As Charles said, we've got some detailed notes of all of the conversations, and hopefully you all feel you've had a chance to contribute. I think the next steps on all of this are to start to develop the next level of detail and thinking to share with you all. There are lots of ways, I think we've kind of got it up on the screen here, that you can keep up to date. I think one of the pieces of feedback that we've had today that obviously we kind of need to start to give some clarity on is when is all of this going to happen? At what point during this year is all this going to happen? And also say what's the kind of testing, piloting, engagement with you all between now and then. So we will be coming out with more on that. But in the meantime, like all of the sessions that we've had around this with this group, this has been really helpful. And thanks very much for your time, all of you. I think unless Steph or Ed has got anything to add on this.
No, thanks, Amanda.
Great. In that case, then we'll let you get back to your busy days, and thanks so much. Thanks so much for your time today and for engaging with this in a helpful and constructive way.
Thank you.